excited to be here today because I'm going to be talking about the mastery of health and well-being and some keys to your health harmony. Now, some of you might be aware of, I've come from 40 years in sports medicine, so I've always come from the physicalness of well-being, and as I started my own hero's journey and health journey of looking at it from a more energetic standpoint, about 7 years ago, one of my amazing mentors taught me more about a mastery of health in regards to what I'm thinking and feeling. So let's get this going. We're going to spend time today mostly in the physical and emotional dimensions of life and full expression. And today we're going to tap into those too. So let's go ahead and get started with a question that we could ask each of us. What would be your picture of health? If you could describe what it would look like and feel like, what would be that picture of health? Our mind thinks in images, so it's nice to have those thoughts and emotions attached to it. So first of all, before we, paint an entire picture of that, how do you and I actually recognize dis-ease starting to happen in our life? And notice I'm breaking that word apart, dis-ease. If you put it together, we end up with disease. So disease is actually going to come from being out of the harmony. Emotional disease will actually pattern in your physical system, your body, as a physical disease. And then the physical system actually bears witness to what is going on in our internal system. Again, our thoughts and emotions. The polarity of experiences that we can have on this earth that actually kind of break apart these negative experiences. Actually, the breaking out of us allows us to create a bigger capacity of love. So coming back to this incredible health harmony and what are the keys to it, I want to start with this quote. When health is absent, wisdom cannot reveal itself. Art cannot manifest, strength cannot fight, wealth becomes useless, and intelligence cannot be applied. That's a quote by Herophilius. And I want to start with a little bit of some stories out of a book that you may be familiar with, written by Napoleon Hill, called Think and Grow Rich. Now, they started with a premise that they thought really successful people are those that have a lot of finance and success materially. What happened was that Napoleon Hill discovered 17 components of wealth. And the number one component of wealth that Napoleon Hill actually discovered through this process, are you ready for it? Peace of mind was the number one attribute of all of these people. The second component was actually physical vitality. So when you and I feel good inside our own skin, when you and I are happy with ourselves, there's no dissonance between you and yourself and the way you live your life. When we're not living from those choices and from that kind of alliance with that, we're going to be living out of harmony. And living out of harmony of our authentic self is going to create that dis-ease and disease. So it really comes down to choices that we get to do each and every day, each and every moment. So our physical system is going to bear witness to what is going on in our internal system, which is our soulful place. And the number one wealth of all of these people, again, they're thinking finance and materialism, but it wasn't. It was peace of mind. And the number two being that physical vitality. So it doesn't really matter how much money you have or how many things you have or how many opportunities you have. If you don't have peace of mind, again, that you're in harmony with your authentic self and your body temple with which to experience these opportunities, then you and I could very well experience a muted type of life on this earth. And we end up confining ourselves or even disabling ourselves in ways. So I wanted to share with you today a quote of a little bit of a book written by Raymond Hollywell that I learned about from my mentor, Mary Morrissey, The Law of Attraction. He defines it like this: to desire is to expect, and to expect is to achieve. He says that the law of attraction regulates supply in the world of effects and has two important phases, which means every effect, whether positive or negative, are mental attitudes of energy that represent lines of attractive force. Imagine seeing a magnet and it's pulling things towards it. So the positive phase is the desire and the negative phase is the expectation. We need both. So you and I now are choosing to have a greater effect of well-being. You want to be in alliance with yourself so you feel good in your own skin and you feel good being yourself. And it's not based on somebody else's approval. It's not based on somebody else's opinion. It's not based on your body being a certain size or what you might be driving or what you have or what you don't have. People that you hang out with, people that you don't hang out with. It's not gauged by any of that. What you're doing is it's gauging your relationship with how much you have in harmony with your authentic self. Now, the law that governs this operates in two phases, just like your computer operates in a binary system. So here's the question: how do you and I learn how to work with desire and expectation? Because there's some thoughts out there, and they work as well, that you don't want to be in a state of want, because you actually repel what you would love to have because you're always in this energy of want. So the law of polarity, as Raymond Hollywell explains, is desire and expectation actually creates this polarity and causes attraction. Because if we didn't have a negative and positive end of a battery, the battery wouldn't work, right? It's really the essence of the law of attraction is a desire to have a positive charge. You have a positive charge and you have a negative charge, and we need both to have an outcome. Now, the law of polarity has its ups and downs. I love to say that life has harmony, that it's in a rhythm, just like the waves of an ocean, that there's a crest and then there's the bottom of the wave, and everything is energy on this earth. It's not so much about having work-life balance. Honestly, if we think about balance, keeping that at a constant state can be exhausting. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is along for more well-being is why you're here. You want more harmony, you want more health and well-being. Let yourself say the next 30 days, I am making important decisions, choices in my life to feel good inside my own skin. I'm going to make those choices. And then I'd encourage you to pay attention to the nudges that are operating in you. And what about if you said yes and to things that really give you that nudge and are really healthy to you, and that you would say no to those things that don't? And that in essence, you're going to have choice making in each part of the day. One is desire, the other expectation. And these are mental attitudes that really represent a line of attractive force. Let's get into the desire part a little bit. As I said earlier, this is the positive charge of the law of attraction, and expectation is the negative. And it doesn't mean that positive means good and negative means bad. Electricity has a positive and a negative charge to make it work. And you want that so that you can have light in your life. All of this is being broadcasted by negative and positive right now. It's the same thing with us. So you have the desire and then you have the expectation. Those create a powerfully attractive pull. And when we desire something, we actually set that up. It starts a magnetic pull that is really charged from within us, and original substance begins to you could begin to actually experience that life is really truly for you. Should you and I then weaken or change that desire, that particular line of force is disconnected or misses its goal, But if we remain constant in the desire or the ambition, the good demanded will sooner or later be realized in all or in part. Are you nurturing it daily? Not hanging on to it tight that it's got to show up this way, but are you nurturing it daily like a newborn child? You get to feed that child. You get to take care of it, make sure that it has clothing and it's clean and it's vibrant. Really, it's not just about the desire. We also get to have an expectation. Our harmony is in our hands. And we have been given capacities, opportunities, and time. Every single day is a lifetime in miniature. What is important in life mastery is not to take on entire life at once, but one day at a time. Just do one day at a time, or even looking at one choice at a time. For example, here we got 30 days, and ask yourself daily, that one day, what could be one new healthy choice I could make today for myself? So one healthy choice a day. It would be perhaps to say, for this morning or this day, I will only have one of those sugary drinks, or this drink or that drink, whatever you're choosing. And in the afternoon, I'm going to really hydrate myself, or you could flip-flop it. What will happen if you make one healthy choice a day is that some of you will begin to create a new pattern in you, because your nervous system is wired so that when you do right, you feel right. And I put that right in quotes because it's right for you. It's you having your life in full expression. Everybody needs a different amount of water for that case too. And wealth is that you feel really good about yourself. That's true wealth. You're wired in such a way that when you make choices in your best interests, you start to feel better about yourself. And that's a very attractive energy to live in. So I'm not asking you, nor can you do it anyway, to change your entire life. Let's just take one choice at a time. Each day, making a healthy choice. Even asking yourself that question, what's one healthy choice that I can make today that is going to really help me to feel good and in harmony with myself? I began to learn that actually our day starts at night. And you think about it, as we start off into going to sleep, it's really about rest, renewing, restore, release, and refocus starts as you put your head on the pillow at night. The day begins as you go to bed. And a great overall thing for us to do is to give thanks for our day every night. The positives and the negatives, the ups and the downs, whatever harmony was in the day. And that sleep is restorative, and it sets our intention for the next day as you go to sleep. And I want to talk about that a little bit more, about setting the intention for the next day. Because as we go to sleep, setting that intention and where we want our attention to go, we actually are working with the laws of the universe, one of them being the law of attraction. It actually goes to work while we're sleeping. Our Creator created us to have life in which there was a period where our physical eyes would close, our physical body would rest, but we see you and are not our physical bodies. We're not just our physical bodies, is really what I'm trying to say. A little bit of an example here, a little bit gruesome, but here's an example that if something happened to my hand and it got cut off and I no longer had my hand, it isn't that I still wouldn't be me, I just lost my hand, but I'm still here. And if some part of your body is removed, you don't lose you. You lose a part of your body. So you know that you and I are not just our body. We have a body, we have emotions, and we have a mind. And you and I are more than that. We're actually energy, spirit, having an experience in this human body. So as you and I go to bed at night, and I've been doing this now, I think about 6 or 7 years, not every single night, but fairly consistent, that practicing as I close my eyes and just relive the moments of the day, we're giving thanks for the day that we lived, the opportunities that we had, what we learned in that day, people that we met, adventures that we may have had as you put your head on the pillow. And we both noticed that maybe some of the choices we made felt really good, and maybe some of them didn't feel so good. But this life is really about learning. And so it's not necessarily a goal for us to really have a day that is not filled with no choices at all. We want to have those choices because they help us to learn. The practice is being in life and being in the willingness to experience life. Your day begins as you close out your day and giving thanks for that. You want to send yourself off into a very restorative experience. And as you put yourself to sleep, send just right from the center of your heart, just as you would send out maybe a golden thread or cord, send out a golden cord of intention to the next day that you're going to rise up in. I want to end us with talking a little bit more about intention and attention. Where are you putting your attention? Because now the universe is, you're learning more about the law of being versus the law of doing, which we are so much programmed in our American culture. Action is important, yet also is the law of being and receiving. So the universe believes that we're really, where we put our attention is where you place your intention. At this point, you are just putting your attention on a possible day that you would like to experience the next day, more than the things you want to get done. Okay? Hear that. It's more than about getting things done, which just resonates to me so much. I can put a big long list. I love lists. So this helped transform me to just not think about getting things done. Rather begin your day with a list rather than an A to-do list. It's about being a being list. Really looking at what would I love to actually be experiencing in myself. And so health and harmony is one thing I love being in each and every day. If you grieve or resent or have negative emotions about yourself for a long time, not talking about a short amount of time, but a long time, it depresses the immune system. I've seen this in some of my closest family, friends, and clients as well. So I would just say that when you and I go to bed at night, just complete that day. Give thanks for it, for all the ups and downs and all the turnarounds of the day, and all the things you think you did right and all the things you wish you had done differently. Just give thanks for the day. Categorize the learning. What did I learn today? What maybe greater clarity, capacities, and capabilities? And then using your imagination, send a golden beam to your next day of your intention for being. Notice intention for being, not doing. And this is really about health and well-being, not so much about health and well-doing. What I'm introducing to you is to practice a practice of beingness in a healthy alliance with your authentic self. And how we do that is to do really with how much you and I are willing to listen to that self and how much we are willing to learn from our patterns. Gandhi said that the voice for your guidance, or the voice of God, where the universe speaks to every person on the planet every single day. Yes, think about that for a minute. Today, the voice of the creative power of the universe is speaking to you. That's a constant stream of support and ideas and inspirations and guidance with your name on it. It is available to you as your willingness to listen. It is available to you through a voice, a feeling, a presence. You can sense it in 100 different ways, but pay attention to how you sense it. I began to practice as I went to sleep at night these gratitudes for the ups and downs, and really set the intention for my life and sent it into the next day, and learned that, from my mentor, Mary, that everything is created twice. And what I was thinking and feeling in my heart as I went off to sleep was going to be carried into the next day. And so I wanted to make sure I went to sleep in a state of love and forgiveness for myself ultimately. And honestly, you guys, without this practice, my mind would sometimes be like a jumping monkey. It jumps around looking for something as if I don't have a way of listening to my own still small voice. Do you feel that way sometimes? Just a jumping monkey all the time. And I really wouldn't be able to discern between truth and my paradigms or my old stories. And one of the ways that you can really know that you are listening to your still small voice is spending time with it and nurturing it, and almost allowing yourself to have a little bit of fun in testing it. It would be like if somebody called you up on the phone and maybe it was your partner, your spouse, your husband, your wife, or your best friend. They wouldn't have to tell you who they are. You would recognize them by your voice. So I want to invite you, as you really step into this health and harmony, that whatever it is that you choose to be, what would well-being be for you? And then commit to paying attention to that still small voice and guidance that is within you, without having to know exactly the final result of that guidance, that you be okay with that. And this is very, very important, because one of us, when we don't pay attention to our guidance, not because the guidance isn't there or we couldn't hear it, but because it doesn't give us an entire roadmap, we don't want to churn it down. So there it is, some keys to amazing mastery of health and harmony. Pass this on to people that if you know that they're struggling with their well-beingness and their harmony of health, pass it on to them. Thanks for joining me this week.